AEW has arrived. All Elite Wrestling has their first event tonight. The show takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand. It is Double or Nothing. And this is an important show, but I'm going to say this. It's not as important as you might think. I think everything's really going to get big once TV starts. TV doesn't start till the fall. So I think even if this show isn't great, I don't think it's going to be as good as All In, because All In was amazing. But even if it's not great, it can still get away with being a good show, because I don't think it matters as much. I think everything's on the TV, because if you're going to have weekly TV, that's the most important thing. So this pay-per-view will be a great show, I'm sure. But I don't think it's make or break for them. I think that they're just trying to have a good show to get people interested and get people talking. So we start off with the buy-in. Now, the buy-in is the pre-show, but they don't have to call it the pre-show. They're just going to call it the buy-in, buy our pay-per-view. And what you do is they have a 21-man casino battle royale starting it. And I actually watched this on TNT's YouTube account. I didn't watch it on TNT. I watched it just streamed it through YouTube. And they started off with 4 guys in the ring, and they bring in more guys as it comes. It was strange. It was almost like a Royal Rumble style, but they would bring, have guys start, and they'd bring 10 guys, then they'd have a break, have them wrestle, they'd bring another group of guys out, and then finally they'd just bring 1 or 2 guys out. It was how it was done. It was kind of a mess at first. Usually Battle Royals start. They're usually it's slop fest. It's awful with all the lower jobbers to start. Then they get really good once more big stars come, and it gets really exciting. This is what this match was. So you had a lot of guys in here. You had Sonny Kiss, you had Brandon Cutler, you had Ace Romero, who's really fat. My God, he's just huge. You had Glacier, you had Brian Pillman Jr., Sunny Daze, MJF, Joey Janela, Dustin Thomas, Billy Gunn, Shawn Spears, who is Ty Dillinger, and you had Adam Page as a surprise. So there was a lot that happened, and can't recap everything. One thing that was crazy was Joey Janela had a cigarette in his face, which was gross, actually. You also had Tommy Dreamer come out. He hit some guys with trash cans. He had a crazy table spot in which Joey Janela took a choke slam out of the ring through a table, and that was his elimination. And it was great. The thing that sold it was Penelope Ford's scream, which was amazing. Penelope Ford, by the way, is absolutely gorgeous. She is stunning, just smoking hot. I somewhat saw those photos she posted on Instagram with Brandy and Britt Baker, who are both very attractive, by the way, but my God, Penelope Ford is just on a different level. She is drop dead gorgeous, and her scream when Janela took the chokeslam just sold it even better. That was great. But I enjoyed it for the most part. You had a good ending. You had Adam Page, who was limping. He was selling his leg injury. I'm not going to get into the whole Pac stuff, but that stuff is what it is. He wins. You had a cool false finish. MJF tries to throw him out, but Adam Page is a skin neck cat, and he throws out MJF. Adam Page wins, and he will challenge the winner of Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, which is the main event later tonight. And I don't know when that show is going to be, when they wrestle, but he will challenge for the title. So a big win for Adam Page here. Next, we go to Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara. This was really fun. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who these guys are. I'm going to be real with you. I don't follow the independents very closely. So I knew who a lot of guys were in the battle royal, but I didn't know these guys. There was some guys I don't know. And I think this is going to be a problem because there's wrestlers on this card who I'm very familiar with. Others I have never really heard of. And I'm not a casual fan, but I don't follow everything really closely. So again, I don't know who these guys are. They had a really good match, though. It was a fun match. There was a cool suplex sequence front. There's a suplex out off the top rope, then onto the apron, then onto the floor, then on the ground, which was really cool. It was probably one of my that was the best part of the match. It was good. Kip Sabian gets the win. And then after that, it was really interesting how they set it up. What they do is they go backstage, and we see Cody and Brandy arrive with their dog. And then we see Kenny Omega backstage on a laptop. Then we see the Young Bucks. They meet backstage. I think Matt, is it Matt or Nick? One of them had an interaction with Michael Tawazawa, the Japanese guy. I never can get his name right. But they have an interaction, and they run into a guy who's yelling at them backstage. He has a bunch of papers in his hands, and we get a Young Buck super kick. Matt and Nick walk to the stage, and all 4 of them come out. And with Brandy had to beat her, obviously. But Cody, Brandy, The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega all make their way out to the ring, or to the ramp, basically, to the stage, and they thank the fans. They're about to cut a promo. Cody's about to promo, then each one of them steals the mic, and I think one of the Young Bucks takes a shot at WWE, and what they say is there's 20,000 people, but there's only 13,000 people we just round up because it's professional wrestling. And as soon as they said it, they put the camera on Brian Alvarez and Vincent Very, the Brian and Vinny show, if you listen to them, which I do, and I laughed my ass off. I saw like they knew that was such planned. It was really weird, and because the Wrestling Observer has been the one who's really exposed WWE's fraud when it comes to posting the fake numbers for sellouts during WrestleManias. I thought that was really funny, actually. And you had Brandy talking. I don't even know what she's saying. She's saying something about all-inclusive or binary, some social justice warrior bullshit wrestling term. Fuck off, Brandy and Cody. I can't stand them. I like everyone else. I love the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I'm a fan of all three of those guys. I can't stand Cody. Just shut up. He wants just wrestling to be a reflection of how he sees the world. He wants this far left-wing utopia, social justice. I don't care. Everyone's included. I'm fine with that. It's like you make like other people don't want to see other people included. I'm fine with everyone being included. I'm just sick of you shoving your political views down our throats. We get it. It's just, they're horrible. I can't stand Cody and Brandy at all. Anyway, finally, Kenny Omega cuts the promo. He brings us in. And that's it. The pre-show cuts off. It actually cut off for me right when Cody was talking, which is good. And here we go. Double or nothing. Let's go, AEW. Let's deliver. So we start off with the national anthem performed by some family group. All I saw was diversity, inclusion, justice for all. So again, very far left SJW company. This is what Tony Khan believes. This is what Cody believes. They're going to do this. This is what they want in this company. They want to make a political statement more than just make great wrestling. I'm here to see the wrestling, but look, this is what they are. This is who they believe. Vince McMahon believes the opposite. He's as big of look, Linda McMahon works in the Trump administration, so it is what it is. This is what they're going to do. They're going to force their political beliefs down everyone's throats. This is what they want. But, the national anthem itself was a very good rendition. I can't say anything like that. We start the show off with the video package now. It's quick. Not a long video package. I like that. WWE sometimes it's like 10-minute ones. So it's just quick. Previewed the matches. Got us quick to the AEW opener of Double or Nothing, the opening logo. Kind of cool with poker chips. That's the theme. I like it. Double or Nothing. We're in Las Vegas. Why not? We start off, and Jim Ross welcomes us to the show. And you also have Alex Marvez on commentary, and you have Excalibur on commentary with his mask. And that's our commentary crew for the night. And they run down the card. They show some of the matches. They announce that there's going to be a world title announcement later on the show. That'll come when it does. I don't know if it'll be after the show or during it, but it will be a part of the show. And running through most of the matches. And we start off officially with SCU against the Strong Hearts. SCU makes their entrance. They get a big ovation. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. I guess they're just like these cocky heels, but they're people who the fans like. They all three cut promos. Sky does, and then 50-year-old Christopher Daniels does, and then Frankie Kazarian gets them all to say SCU. So they get the crowd hyped up. Strong Hearts come out, Cima, T-Hawk, and Al Lindaman. And here we are, the first pay-per-view match on pay-per-view. They've had matches before on the pre-show, but their first official pay-per-view match is underway. SCU versus Strong Hearts. We'll see how this goes. That was a damn good match. What a way to start off the pay-per-view. That was fun. Very fast-paced. Got really exciting near the end. And what they really do is they really emphasize the 10-second rule. So basically it's 5 seconds in most tag team matches, but I don't think most wrestling companies even enforce the rules. But when a wrestler's in trouble, another wrestler can get in the ring and help him. And this, you have a 10-second break instead of a 5-second break. So they use that a lot near the end of the match, and it makes sense. A lot of stuff making sense here. A lot of high-flying action near the end. It's way too much to recap it all, but it was really entertaining. Christopher Daniels was great. Frank Kazarian's good. He was great, actually, too. So Scorpio Sky. And all three of the Chinese wrestlers, all from OWE in China. They were all representing them. I thought they were going to win because I think AEW has a good relationship with them, but I don't know how big of a stars they are, and I think they wanted to give SCU a win to get the fans pumped up, and the fans really liked them. And this was the perfect match, really, to start the show. You can't start a show better than that. That's how you start off. Get the fans interested. Very fun tag match, really entertaining. SCU gets the win. They used the perfect Melter driver, so I guess they're going to really play into the smarks, I guess. This is what they're going to do. But he had a lot of high-flying spots. It was just crazy nerdy, and I can't recap it all. But SU with the win. So they go to the broadcasters, and they're positioned really high above the ring, almost on the top stands. This is what they're going to do with their format. And they bring in Ali, who is going to do guest commentary with them. And by the way, Ali looks great, just to say. And triple threat women's match is next, or so we thought. We see Britt Baker come out, we see Kylie Ray come out, and we see Nyla Rose come out, and then Brandy comes out. She's in her wrestling gear, and she's wrestling. No. She brings out Awesome Kong, and this is now a fatal four-way match. I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm a big Awesome Kong fan, so I'm happy she's a smash. I wish it was just a triple threat with Britt, Ali, and Kong. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. We have a man wrestling in this match. Nyla Rose is a man pretending to be a woman with, someone who's just dressed up as a woman. I think having a man wrestling a woman, I've never been a big fan of it. I don't like it. It's just not believable to me. I mean, if you have someone like a small cuck man, who I think AEW probably wants to sign, but if you have one of those the cuck guys and a girl who's strong, good looking, but powerful woman beating them up, it's very believable. It's not going to happen, obviously. When you're having women fight men who are twice their size, not believable. Just looking at Nyla Rose, looking at a man, looking at her next to Britt Baker and Kylie Ray. I mean, this notion that a woman can beat a man's ridiculous. That's a fully grown man next to two women. And even next to Awesome Kong, you can just tell the difference with their shoulders, their chests, their legs. It's just so much different. Awesome Kong is a big woman. I'm a huge fan of Awesome. Always liked her. Big fan. She's a big woman. She's up against a man in Nyla Rose. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's the Social Justice Wrestling Company. All right. Anyway, I'm sure this will be good. As long as we keep, Britt Baker and Kong would actually have a damn good singles match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with the win. They would tell you a million times she's a dentist. We know she's DMD. Well, the match itself was a fun match. I enjoyed it. It was really good near the end. I thought it got really to a higher level once we really got to see Britt Baker and Kylie Ray in there. We saw Awesome Kong do some stuff. It does seem that she is a bit limited, and I think that's because of the amount of back issues she's had. Nyla Rose, again, we know why she's there. I'm glad she didn't win, so they didn't just try to do everything a political statement. But the person who needed to win here was Britt Baker, and I thought it was fair because she was the first woman they signed. And I saw Cody do an interview, and he really praised her and how happy he was that she would sign. And she didn't hesitate at all. She signed with them. That was really good. So I think she deserves to win. I think right now she's their top female star. Who else do you have? Not going to push Brandy as a top female star. She can wrestle here and there, but not the top star because she's not going to be a full-time wrestler. Kong, again, she's very limited nowadays. I mean, she's older. She's had so many back issues. I don't know how much more she can go as a full-time star. Kylie Ray, I don't see her as a star. I think it's Britt Baker, so she should have won. There was a really good Tower of Doom spot. There was a spot where Nyla Rose spears Kong into the steps, but Britt Baker ends up finishing off Kylie Ray in the ring, and Britt Baker is your winner. Good match. Really enjoyed it. Backstage, you see Omega and Jericho warming up. That'll be the main event that's going on last. So next, you have the best friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor. against Angelico and Jack Evans. I'll be honest, I know who the best friends are. I don't know who the other two guys, so I'm interested to see how the fans react here because I'm not familiar with these guys. I'm surprised this is a bit later in the show. I thought this would go a little bit earlier, but I'm not familiar, so I'll get through this match. It should be entertaining, though. So this was an interesting match. At first, I wasn't into it because I wasn't familiar with the guys, and the crowd was like me. They were silent for the first half. The second half was very good, and by the third act of the match, the crowd was emotionally invested. They got into the match. He had a really cool moonsault from a guy's back onto the outside, which was a good spot there. It got really fun near the end. It looked like that the best friends were going to lose, and Angelico and Jack Evans were going to steal the win, but friends get the win. Chucky T and Trent Beretta finished the match. It was a fun, entertaining match. Everything's been very good. Another very good match. 3 matches, all been very good. So this show, off to a damn good start. No problems whatsoever with it so far in match quality. I enjoyed it. It was another fun match. Post-match, the lights go out. And I'm as confused as Jim Ross is. I don't know who these guys are. A bunch of masked guys come in to destroy everyone in the ring, and they lay them all out. So they go to a commercial, and they officially announce All Out. Announced for August 31st, 2019. This is basically the sequel to All In. It's in the Sears Center in Chicago. It's going to be a big show. I don't think they can get the rights to All In, so they can't call it All In 2, but they're going to go with All Out, August 31st. Up next, we have 6-woman tag. We have, I'm going to kill everyone's name. I apologize, but we have Hiroku Sarita, Rio, and Ryo Muzami against Aja Kong, Yaki Sakazuki, and Emi Sakura. All right, last time I can pronounce anyone's name. Let's hope we get a good match here.
Holy shit, that match was great. I loved it. That was a brutal match. Aja Kong is a fucking beast. She was just beating the crap out of these girls. I'm trying to get their names confused, but I think it might be Rio or Hikaru or Ryo. I mean, there's 2 different ones, but the really short, skinny Japanese girl who's really young. I think she's like really only 21 years old. Watching Aja Kong torture her was pretty brutal. She beat the crap out of this poor girl. She beat up all of them. Rio's the only one, I think, with the, is not the tiny one. She's the one that's kind of built up a bit more. She was really good here. So was Hiroku, and so was Ryo. On the other side was more of the veterans. Emi and Yuka were very good as well. They battled. There were some dives here. There was some really fast action, some brutal matches. It was like an all Japan women's wrestling in the 90s. I'm sure whoever booked this match is a huge fan of Dream Slam. If you ever seen Dream Slam, it's probably the greatest wrestling event ever, maybe still. It took place in the 90s. It's just a classic women's wrestling pay-per-view, and it's just brutal. It's exactly like the men, but it's the way the Japanese women beat each other up. It's more painful. It's especially sad seeing some of those younger Japanese girls just get the shit kicked out of them, and that's what we saw here. I love this match. Also, there was a huge problem. That was a botch. So there was a pretty bad botch near the end. Aja Kong hits her finisher, and one of them does a moonsault. And it was really unfortunate because the fans really called them out. You know what's going to happen here? When you have a situation where it's a hardcore wrestling fan, you fuck up, you know you're going to get the you fucked up chance, and they gave it to him. I think it was the referee's fault or one of the talents, but yeah, there was a bad botch. But then they finished, and the baby faces in the match, I guess, won the match. So that was a confusion ending, but I really loved the match. Hell of a match. Really great. Next, I really like how we go to the announcers, and they sell the story of Cody and Dustin really well. JR did it well because he actually knows them since they were kids. I thought he sold it really well first, and I liked how the announcers were kind of like they knew this is a big match, but it's really serious. It's really personal between 2 brothers, so that was done really well. And here we are, Cody versus Dustin.
You have a song playing in the background, basically, and they show the 2 of them really getting ready for this. And I really like how we see Dustin on the ranch. I thought that was a really good look. And Well, Cody Rhodes and AEW with the clear message to the WWE. So Cody's entrance was cool. I started off with a bunch of gold lights, and I thought that was going to be for Dustin. So I assumed because the Goldust character, it's a tribute to that. Instead, we see Cody's music come out and Brandy's out. And Brandy and Cody come out, and what they have is on the stage is actually kind of cool. There's two tunnels, I think one for a babyface and one for a heel with two screens. And in the middle, there's the stage. And what you have is you have a giant crown. It's like Triple H would always use that crown for WrestleMania entrances. It's the King's crown with the T logo. So it's a Triple H crown. That's immediately what I thought. I thought they were just going to have Cody sit on it like he's taking the crown. Instead, Cody and Brandy walk to the ring. And Brandy goes under the ring, and she rings out a sledgehammer. Second, holy shit, a sledgehammer. Cody takes a sledgehammer, walks back up the ramp, and smashes the throne. Wow, here we go. It's like, that's the shot. I don't know if Cody was really mad about Triple H's remark at the Hall of Fame calling AEW a piss ant company, which I'm sure he didn't like that because I heard his response on being the elite, so he clearly was angry about it, but that was the message. I don't know if it's F the attitude era. This is AEW, so hey, it's fun. That was entertaining. You see that stuff in WCW and WWF in the 90s. This makes it fun. So Cody comes out first, and then Dustin comes out. And Dustin crouches down on the ramp, takes a look. It's like it's his last match. This is going to be it for him. He gets a standing ovation really from the fans. It's like I think they sense it too. And here we are, Cody versus Dustin.
And I love the Dusty chant before the match. That was perfect.
Holy shit, that was a classic match. What a bloodbath. My God, that was just insanity. I love that thing. That was insane. So when the match starts, it starts off really fast-paced, and Dustin gets the upper hand. He does a really cool senton off the apron. He throws Cody around, does a bulldog. Cody's getting his ass kicked early, and then Cody retreats into the crowd, and then Brandy does a lot of stuff. She throws water on Dustin, and Cody gets the upper hand for a while. Then Brandy does a spear on Dustin, and she's thrown out of the ring by Earl Hebner, who's the referee, and it's kind of funny. DDP just carries her away, and during that time, Dustin bladed, and because he went headfirst into the middle turnbuckle, which was exposed, and my God, that was, the most blood I've seen since maybe Eddie Guerrero at Judgment Day in 2004. That was bloody. This was ridiculous. Undertaker bleeded really bad in the Hell in a Cell match with Brock. I remember that was bad too, but this was up there. He bled like crazy, and it doesn't stop. The entire ring is covered in blood. It's red. It went from a beautiful ring with the AEW logo in the center to just covered in blood red. It is bloody. It's a horror movie. He is dripping blood throughout the match. Every single time there's a move, and Dustin moves after the move to sell it, and he puts his head down. You can just see blood dripping. And Cody gets the upper hand forever, and he's just beating him up. And this is such an old school NWA match. And Jim Ross is talking about similar to Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes bloodbath. And it's gory here. And Cody is able to hit his finisher on Dustin. Dustin kicks out. He hits a crossroads. He hits the kick. The disaster kick. Dustin kicks out. And Dustin looked like Dustin was going to take the match twice. I thought Dustin was going to win. He hit crossroads twice on Cody, his version of it. And Cody kicked out. It was just great. And then Cody finally does like this vert breaker, which is a dangerous move if you've seen it. I haven't seen it in a while. Then he hits another crossroads. He gets the win. Cody wins. He leaves the ring, bloodied up. Cody's covered in blood. Dustin's busted open. We have Cody gets in the ring, and he grabs a microphone, and everyone and their mother thinks that Dustin's going to retire. I thought for sure this is a great way for Dustin to go out. Couldn't have asked for a better way. Bleeds like crazy. It's his brother. He puts him over. They have a classic match. Cody was a heel the whole night. He turns face. He says you can't retire. It was me, Kenny, Nick, Matt, and Choney who brought this together. And next, in 2 months at Fight for the Fallen in Jacksonville, I signed my name for a match. And you are going to be my partner. I need a partner. He's facing the Young Bucks, and he says, I don't need just a partner. I don't need a friend. I need my older brother. And he cries, Dustin cries, they hug, and they walk out together. So Fight for the Fallen, 2 months. We have a big match now. We have Cody and Dustin against the Young Bucks. That match is going to be excellent. I can't wait for that. So They're really going to hype Fight for the Fallen as a major show, like Double or Nothing was. I thought Fight for the Fallen was just going to be more of a charity event for victims of gun violence in Jacksonville, but they're treating it like a major show, so that's going to be a big one. And Cody and Dustin, amazing moment. I can't say anything else. That was just excellent. That was amazing. And amazing, the fans chant Dusty. JR says that the dream is smiling. That was just a tribute for Dusty. All of that. That was excellent. So we go to highlights from the Battle Royal that started the show off, and the winner was Adam Page, and he gets a title shot. And they were showing a lot of highlights. I remember it was a really fun match to watch. It was really entertaining. And not for nothing, I still love hearing Penelope Ford scream and Janela gets chokeslammed to death. That was just legendary. And yeah, I love looking at Penelope Ford. Can we see more of her, please? So Jack Whitehall's in the ring. He's some British entertainer, and he presents the title. And holy shit, it's Bret Hart. He said the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I thought that was just almost going to be like a shot at Bret. Bret comes out, he presents the title. I don't know if he's still with WWE, maybe his Legends contract's up, because he was just at the Hall of Fame when he was getting attacked. So yeah, he presents, he gives Jack the title, and we're going to see it. So Bret made some mistakes. He did a few botches, but he eventually introduces Adam Page to come out. He does. But then you have MJF interrupting him. So I was not a big fan of that segment. He had MJF come out, and he cut to like this 20-minute promo. He rips into Bret Hart. He mocks Bret for the fan incident at the Hall of Fame. He said, "Oh, there's a fan coming in the ring," and Bret actually was smirking. I thought it was funny. He rips into Adam Page for a while. He calls him a horse. And then he talks about the fans, and he compares Adam Page's leg injury to a horse's leg injury, and he says the fans are all fat white trashes, and he's going to take them out and blow their brains out. So I don't know if it's a good idea, Tony Khan, to talk about blowing people's brains out when you have a pay-per-view in a couple months dedicated to the victims of gun violence. It's going to be as a charity event for victims. So I don't know if you want to talk about blowing someone's brains out right now, but they did. Adam Page takes a strike at him, and then MJF retreats, and what you have is Jungle Boy comes out. I didn't really notice, but Jungle Boy is actually the son of Luke Perry, who passed away. He was a famous actor. He passed away a couple months ago. He comes out, he attacks him, and then you have Jimmy Havoc, Emo Bane with his damn Bane outfit, and then you have Jungle Boy, Jimmy, and Adam Page all beat up MJF. He retreats to the back, and then Bret Hart unveils the championship, and we don't see it because the camera's on the side of Bret, and he's holding up the title to the stage side, so we can't really see it, but then eventually we see it. It looks really good. It's a great title. It's really big. It's shiny as the AEW logo. Definitely an expensive belt. It's not just some belt where you just have the company's logo and just some... a different color strap like WWE does. This was a great title belt, and they really invested heavily in this. So I really liked it. It was a great belt. Up next, AAA Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks defend their titles against the Lucha Bros, Penta El Zero, and Phoenix. So I thought both of them had cool entrances. Lucha Bros come out first, then you have the Young Bucks in their robes. I think it was almost similar to Shawn Michaels' style of robe with their entrance. And here it is. You have Justin Roberts, who is the ring announcer, by the way, doing introductions. It's the AAA Tag Team titles, Young Bucks against the Lucha Bros. And one thing, just out of nowhere, I noticed that all the blood from Dustin's cleaned off. So it's a really fun match. You have two sets of brothers. Both the Lucha Bros are brothers and the Young Bucks are brothers. And the commentators really brought that up, and they did a good job of explaining that and explaining the dynamic of this match. So that tag team match... I don't like to say this, it was a hell of a match. I thought this could have been a classic match had it been earlier in the show. I think the Cody and Dustin match, watching a match like that, it just drains you. It drains you. And then you had the segment, which I think was done to give people a breather. You have this match. I did feel it could have been better earlier in the show. And I did have to criticize Jim Ross here. He could not keep up with this match. The other two would go crazy. They would show their excitement. JR would just go, oh, well. You can tell he's not like this kind of wrestling. It's not his style, but he just couldn't keep up here. And I think this would have been even better had this been earlier in the show and had the commentators been more energetic. And I think because he had so many tag matches, this had to be later in the show. And it was a Young Bucks. He deserved one of the main event spots. But I think this would have been even better. But this was still a damn good match. He had so much spots here. It was like a ridiculous amount. You had all sorts of dives. You had super kicks. You had just 2 double Canadian destroyers. One on the apron was just nasty. One in the ring. There was a lot of false finishes. There were several parts where it looked like Pentagon and Phoenix were going to win. They did this double move in which I think it was Phoenix or someone had both the Young Bucks in the position, and Pentagon comes off the rope and they smash them to the ground. Young Bucks looked like they had it a couple of times with victories over the Lucha Bros. There was a whole bunch of entertaining sequences. There was a crazy dive by one of the Jacksons. Nick Jackson took the majority of the punishment here, and in the end, you have Nick gets his arm broken by Phoenix. Or by Pentagon, I'm not much sure which one actually. But Young Bucks continue to fight back. One of them's on the ground. And then he's still able to get him in position for the Meltzer driver with the tombstone position. The other one gets up. They hit the Meltzer driver. 1, 2, 3. Young Bucks retain. Very entertaining match. Very good. They keep the AAA tag titles. So I don't know when we're going to see the AEW tag titles because they have to be the first champs. But they keep the belts. Really enjoyed that match. But I do think it could have been even better had it been a little bit earlier in the show. Main event time, Omega Jericho. So I like AEW style of promo. It's basically more of a UFC style in which it's kind of real. They have both guys talking and they set up the match. I liked it. And this is it. Jericho, Omega. They don't really bring the New Japan match from Wrestle Kingdom last year up too much, but they did have Jericho acknowledge it in the promo. He had a really great entrance of Chris Jericho. He's paying tribute to his earlier career. It starts off with the classic Y2J Jericho when he first debuted in the WWF. Then he does the list of Jericho. Then he does the light up jacket. And then finally we hear Fozzie's Judas, and Jericho comes out. Omega had a cool entrance too. It's like he's walking in downtown Tokyo, which was a tribute to that. And then he comes out, both of them from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And we have our main event. You also have a giant Cracker Barrel in the ring. They did that for All In too, so I guess they really want to get over that sponsor. So in this match, you have to live up to the New Japan match. One thing I like early is they use a table, and they're very innovative with it. It's not like we're just going to smash a table. They use it as a weapon. There's a kick into the table, then Omega does a giant double stomp, so then they set up the table later. But I like how they're a little bit more innovative with it. There was another really great sequence in which Omega does a V-trigger. He goes for he goes for One-Winged Angel. Jericho's able to reverse. And then it sets up a back body drop. Jericho back body drops Omega off the ring. He holds onto the ropes out of the ring and then through the table. So there was a really good spot. Omega goes for the top rope. He gets caught with a code breaker. And then near the end, it goes a while. And it's a weird ending. Like, there was Kenny Omega goes for the One-Winged Angel twice, and they never hit it. And that usually means if he doesn't hit it, he's losing. That no one kicks out of that. But Jericho messed up a DDT, then they did it again. Jericho hit a DDT, then Jericho hits a code breaker. And then he hits his new finisher, the spinning back elbow. 1, 2, 3, Chris Jericho just pinned Kenny Omega. A shock ending. It was like, what the hell? Omega lost? I thought Jericho could win. I picked Omega to win because if Kenny Omega is going to be a top guy, he has to win on the first ever show. But Jericho pins Omega. They're setting up a trilogy for sure. I don't know when they'll do it. Maybe in Chicago for All Out. But Chris Jericho with the win, and he will face Adam Page, most likely at the Fight for the Fallen show for the first ever AEW championship. I thought it was a very good match, and obviously not as good as the New Japan match from Wrestle Kingdom last year. Not on that level, but it was still a great main event. But not the best match of the night, and not as good as their previous encounter. Jericho gets on the mic, and all I'm thinking of, all right, it's Punk or Moxley. Holy shit, it's Jon Moxley. The fans are going nuts. He enters through the crowd. He destroys everyone. He goes after Jericho, hits his DDT, the Dirty Deeds, hits it on the referee. Everyone's down. It's chaos, and he looks at Omega. He looks to hit it on him, and they brawl. They go through the ramp, and then they go through the crowd, and then they battle to where the poker chips are. They had a whole bunch of poker chips set up on the stage. When he gets to the stage, Moxley hits the Dirty Deeds on top of the poker chip stack onto Omega, and then he lifts up. He basically just does like an AA off the poker chips onto glass, and Moxley just stands over the poker chips, poses. Holy shit, how do you like AEW now? Jon Moxley is officially in All Elite Wrestling. And this was a fantastic show, an amazing show, a great way to start off. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. This is going to be a crazy summer. Who cannot be excited? Wrestling is here. WWE finally has competition in AEW.